All right, welcome. Coreum Concepts live deep dive. I'm your host, Chris. Live stream from my home island here on the beautiful Sunshine Coast in Canada. Hard to believe I was on the road for the last 6 months. It's been a long time. It's nice to be home. It's been quite a journey. Thank you for all those that are still stopping by to check out the channel. Be a lot more content coming out here soon. A lot going on as we start 2026. Give me a thumbs up in the comments if the sound's doing okay. See Bibby's here. We'll slow roll into things, get a few people in here before we dive into it. We're gonna have a good one here today. Thank you all for stopping by. I hope to provide you some value here today as we learn about Lendore, a lending and borrowing platform being built on the Coreum blockchain. As part of this, we're doing a community raise again to move this project forward, and that is actually starting on Monday. That's why I thought, well, you know, I better take a look at this, see what it's all about. Hopefully I can give you some valuable information and let you know if you want to get involved or not. We'll take a look at it here together live. So audio's good, all set. Well, right on. Appreciate that. All I ask in return is a like, share, follow, leave a comment or a question in the little box below. Every little bit helps. And you could also stake your Coreum to the Coreum Community DAO Validator and earn some good APYs while you're doing it. Before we start, it's not to be considered an endorsement, recommendation, or financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. I'm merely documenting my journey and research into this project. I do not own or expect to receive the token, but potentially could in the future. I have not been asked or paid to discuss this or any other token or project here today. Even the best crypto products can go to zero and completely disappear. So do your own research, speak to a financial advisor before you invest in crypto or any other commodity. All right. Let's get into it. Just check this out here. Just some music. Down a little bit. All right. There we go. All right, we're going to dive into Lendore, a next-generation DeFi lending and borrowing protocol for the Coreum ecosystem. Lendore is set to become the premier lending protocol on the Coreum blockchain, designed to deepen liquidity and deliver a comprehensive suite of features for all users. With the imminent launch of Solotex, Lendore will pioneer lending and collateralization of tokenized stocks, introducing a first-of-its-kind opportunity to unlock new value in digital assets. We'll do a separate video on Solotex as it's coming close on that one here too. It's about time we do an update there. But for today, we're going to talk more about Lendore and see what we can learn about that. All right, so right off the bat, doesn't look like there's a website for it. So it looks like they're basing this out of their X account, Lendore XYZ. And they say here, the home for lending, borrowing, and perps on Coreum, made with love by bids on Core and XPunk NFTs. All right, you can see they joined September 2025. And we'll learn a bit more about them here today. Before we get started, as mentioned, I want to help support me and my journey and the team at Coreum Community DAO Validator, bringing a lot of value to the community. You stake your Coreum to the Coreum Community DAO validator. Learn more at CoreumCommunityDAO.com. Forgot to show that slide earlier. So there it is. All right. So bids on Coreum, for those that aren't familiar, they are a NFT marketplace that is both on the XRPL and Coreum blockchain. You can toggle between the two on there. Used to be known as on XRP for the old timers out there like me. And this is the bids.com website. This is the launch pad where you can find the Coreum punks still minting on the Coreum side, sold out on the XRPL side. You can find your way to Coreum punk on this NFT platform. Encourage you to check it out if you haven't done so already. All right, so they're builders in the community. I've had actually Kai, the founder, on the show a few times. You can check back on the channel there. We're talking mainly about bids.com, but good guy, lots of contributions to the show in the past. You can check out those replays. All right, so going back a ways to the start here, you see August 12th, 2025. There was a proposal on the Coreum blockchain governance protocol as proposal number 20. And that was to the Coreum community. Bids is requesting $125,000 from the $2.2 million USD community pool to launch a lending and borrowing protocol, a critical piece of DeFi infrastructure that will expand Coreum's ecosystem, integrate solo text, tokenized stocks, boost on-chain utility, and attract more users. What is lending and borrowing? A lending and borrowing protocol is a decentralized platform where users can lend their digital assets and earn interest to borrow assets by locking up collateral worth more than the loan. Smart contracts handle everything automatically, setting interest rates based on supply and demand and liquidating collateral if its value drops too much. All right, so we'll get into the details a little bit later. We're just going to go through the white paper, but this is just going through the proposal that initial round of funding community pool on Coreum. Phase 1, launch on-chain lending and borrowing for all Coreum tokens and integrate tokenized stocks currently being developed by Solotex into the lending and borrowing system, depending on their token standard, enabling stocks to be used as collateral. All right, and then they got some future plans. So we haven't got to phase 1 yet. Proposal passed, so they have received the equivalent at the time there, $675,000 plus Coreum, $125,000 USD to put towards the platform. All right, so that was in August, and then you can see September 24th, Lendore goes live on X. Good morning. Regulated tokenized stocks on Coreum soon. Lending, borrowing, perps, loading. Coreum plus Lendore equals first de-StockFi ecosystem. I think that's the first time I've seen that. First de-StockFi. All right. And that was quoting a tweet from Mike McCluskey, the CEO of Coreum and Sologenic. And here's the big picture update. We are still on track to launch the first platform offering tokenized equities in the US, not a foreign SPV style indirect offering like competitors. So that is yet to be announced. We're supposed to hear more about that come this month, January. Last we heard, it was being tested in beta by the team, I think, at the moment. So that's where it started here for Lendore on X. And there you go. See, October 6th, we had a little update. Part 1 is Oracle. See some Oracle testing there. Part 2 is the UI. Here we are, December 12th. Part 3, airdrop distribution. All right, so what happens if we go here? Yeah, it was just a photo. That's what I thought. Let's go back. All right, so part 3, airdrop distribution. They have an airdrop coming up. The token's going to be LNDR for Lendore. And it looks like you're getting 2% going to early users, 2% to uni holders. That's a NFT project on the Coreum blockchain. 1% to .core domain name holders. So there you go. I said in my disclaimer, I don't have any tokens or think I'm entitled to. I'll probably get some based on that. I have quite a few domain names actually. So that's good. And Cozy holders get 0.5%. Coreum active wallets get 0.5%. And bids validator stakers 4%. I think I might have a little bit stake there too. So there you go. Full disclaimer, I might end up with some of these tokens after all. And then there's plus a 10% airdrop for early users, which will be considered season 2. All right. And that was the same screen. Okay, here we go. I think this is where we got announced January 5th. The Lendore Community Raise January 12th is open for 2 weeks. That is Monday, so just a couple days away. There's 2 million tokens available, all for the community. All will be sold, no insiders. We structured this raise differently on purpose. No VC allocations, no advisor bags, no early investor stack waiting to exit. It's simple. The community decides the price and receives all the tokens. The raise uses a variable pricing model where the total amount raised sets the token price at the close. For example, a $300,000 USD cap prices Lendore at 15 cents, while 100,000 raise would set it at 5 cents. The raise is capped at $300,000 as this is the maximum amount that can be raised. We'll post a Coreum wallet on the 12th of January. All you need to do is send your allocation there. The wallet you use is the wallet you'll receive the tokens on when Lendore launches. If demand hits the 300,000 cap, the raise closes early. Anything sent after that moment, Coreum, XRP, or USDC are accepted, will be returned automatically. You don't lock in the price of the day you send, you lock in the price when the raise closes. If you contributed Coreum at 5 cents and it's closed, it's worth 10 cents, your contribution counts as 10 cents. You don't miss the pump, you don't have time, you don't have to time the market. You are protected from upside FOMO. At TGE, the token will list at 75% above your entry price. That instant uplift is why we allocated 30% of the raise to liquidity, not to pay middlemen, but to give the launch real depth and stability. This model rewards early believers without exposing them to unnecessary risks. Clean, transparent, community-driven, and built to scale. So you can see here, max raise, will launch 75% higher. Max circulating market caps 510,000 with an FDV market cap of 1.5 million. 30% of the raised funds are going to go into a liquidity pool. 10% is going into an insurance fund, and 60% is going towards growth. And the insurance fund, for further details, protecting platform users from bad debt and liquidation shortfalls. All right, so there you go. Maximum price can be 15-cent token, 2 million tokens up for grabs. Let's see what else we can learn here. Our tokenomics will ensure a sustainable future for Lendore. Only 34% will be unlocked during the token launch. The ICO 100%, airdrop 50%, and sufficient liquidity to pair with the raised amount. The circulating market cap at launch will be a maximum of 892,500, along with $120,000 in liquidity. So here's tokenomics. The ICO launchpad gets 20%, 20% for airdrop, 10% for liquidity. Team gets 15%, treasury gets 15%, and staking reserve gets 20%. Lendore utility. Built on real usage, Lendore earns revenue from protocol activity. Lendore holders capture that upside by staking. Protocol fees go to lender stakers. usage volume drives ongoing buybacks. Buybacks strengthen rewards over time. Perps increase platform activity. More fees, faster buybacks. We know buybacks need time to build momentum. That's why 20% of the lender supply is reserved for staking rewards to keep yields attractive and sustainable from day one, while buybacks scale in the background. This ensures staking stays compelling, rewards stay durable, and early supporters are structurally positioned to benefit long term. All right, so protocol earns fees distributed to stakers. Buybacks fund the staking pool. Stakers receive the lender token. Perps accelerate buybacks and revenue share. All right, so there we go. And this was a snapshot, hasn't been taken yet. That was as of December 13th. Not sure if that has changed since then. We'll just maybe scroll up ahead of this post to find out. No, that is the most recent information on here as far as that is concerned. So there you go. So this community raise starts on January 12th. You'll need just to deposit your contribution, either Coreum XRP or USDC, to the Coreum wallet starting on Monday. It's open for 2 weeks. The amount that's raised in total will determine the actual token price, but all 2 million tokens will be distributed to whatever is raised. All right, I think that made sense. Made sense to me anyways. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me pop over to the comments here. And what do we got? The logo looks like Pac-Man. There you go. That's for us old guys out there. Pac-Man goes back a ways there, like 40 years. And Articulates reposting the stream. Thank you very much, sir. Every bit helps. Please give me a follow, subscribe, or a thumbs up if you haven't done so already. It does help the algo. Don't see any questions so far, so we will move on. We're going to check out the white paper. We'll just dive right into it. All right, I read that opening already. All right, why Lendore? Lendore is the missing piece of Coreum's financial infrastructure, bringing lending capabilities that unlock new ways to use digital assets. By enabling users to borrow against their holdings, Lendore provides liquidity without forcing them to sell and miss out on future gains. This allows users to cover unexpected expenses, leverage existing positions, or pursue new investment opportunities. More importantly, Lendore will introduce advanced features, most notably the collateralization of tokenized stocks, creating entirely new opportunities within the ecosystem. With this, Lendore is set to attract seamless onboarding from the Coreum ecosystem and beyond, wherein we aim to become the premier lending protocol on the Cosmos. That's getting easier by the day. Cosmos ecosystem's getting hit pretty hard here lately. So there you go. That's the mission. Who is Lendore for? Lendore is built to serve two major user groups, balancing their needs within a single platform. Speculators, the risk takers, power users looking to maximize leverage, access liquidity without selling your core assets, engage with advanced trading instruments. And then there's passive players, risk reducers. They're yield seekers focused on capital preservation and stable APY, leverage risk managed passive yield strategies. All right, next goes into DEX trading. Lendore enhances the user experience by offering seamless spot trading between assets directly on its platform by aggregating liquidity from Coreum's two most widely used DEXs, Pulsera and Cruise Control. Lendore is positioned to provide users with the deepest liquidity at the widest variety of tokens available on Coreum. All right, so here we have some imaging. Looks like you'll be able to adjust your slippage. That's always handy. Seen that configuration on many DEXs. A DEX swap is a process of exchanging one token for another directly on chain. Unlike a traditional XRPL order book or centralized exchanges, a DEX on Coreum does not rely on this or intermediaries. All trades are executed by smart contracts in liquidity pools. How a DEX swap works. DEXs use liquidity pools instead of buyers and sellers. A liquidity pool contains two tokens, example, Coreum and USDC, supplied by liquidity providers. These providers earn a portion of the swap fees. Automated pricing. Prices are determined algorithmically using an automated market maker model. When one token is added to the pool, the other is removed. The price adjusts automatically based on the new balances. Executing a swap. When a user initiates a swap, the input token is sent to the pool. A smart contract calculates the output amount. The output token is sent to the user. A swap fee is deducted and distributed to liquidity providers. All steps occur atomically in a single on-chain transaction. Good to go through this for the new users. There's probably going to be many new users engaging in this once it goes live. It's important that they know where to find the information, and we might as well just go through it while we're demonstrating that. Slippage is the difference between the expected price of a swap and the actual price at which a swap is executed on chain. Because DEX prices are determined by liquidity pool balances rather than fixed order books, every swap slightly changes the price. Liquidity is low, swap size is large, market conditions change rapidly. To protect against unexpected outcomes, users can set automatic or manual slippage tolerance, which defines the maximum acceptable price deviation. If the swap could execute outside this range, the transaction automatically fails, preventing an unfavorable execution. So that was this button right up here, manual slippage. All right, so let's go on to the next page, perpetual DEX trading. Post-launch, Lendore will expand its protocol with perpetual DEX assigned for advanced traders seeking higher risk-adjusted returns on assets native to the Coreum ecosystem. The perp DEX will enable leveraged long and short trading on Coreum-based tokens such as Cozy, Solo, Sarah, Lender, and Coreum, creating a natural extension of Lendore's capital markets and deepening on-chain liquidity across the ecosystem. A perpetual DEX, perp DEX, allows users to trade perpetual futures, derivatives that track the price of an underlying Coreum asset without an expiry date. Traders do not take ownership of the asset. Instead, they open a long or short positions, speculate on price movements. These can be leveraged, example, 1, 5, or 10x. Operating entirely through smart contracts, the perp DEX preserves self-custody and transparent execution, with trades settling on-chain optimized for performance and cost. All right, price alignment is maintained through the funding rate mechanism that periodically balances longs and shorts. When perpetual prices trade above spot, longs pay shorts. When below, shorts pay longs. This system incentivizes equilibrium and ensures perpetual market closely tracks real spot prices, sourced from reliable Coreum native oracles. All right, well, before I go any further, let me just say trading crypto is extremely volatile at the best of times. You start having leverage 1x, 5x, or 10x, and there's, trust me, out there, it can get higher than that. That's extremely volatile and dangerous. So if you don't know what you're doing, you're not an experienced trader, and not willing to lose money like 90% of traders out there, don't get into this without understanding what you're doing. Very, very dangerous stuff. All right, it makes it sound kind of nice here. That's why I had to jump in and say this is very risky stuff when you start talking leverage. All right, risk management is fully automated and tightly integrated with Lendore's lending infrastructure. Traders post collateral, access leverage, and are liquidated when positions breach predefined safety thresholds. Over time, Lendore's lending pools serve as capital backbone for the perp DEX, supporting liquidity, enabling efficient margin utilization, generating additional yield for lenders through trading fees, funding payments, and liquidation incentives. By combining lending, borrowing, and perpetual trading under a single protocol, Lendore evolves to a full-stack DeFi capital market on Coreum. While perp trading introduces risks such as smart contract vulnerabilities, Oracle dependency, and market volatility, Lendore's transparent, rules-based design aims to deliver institutional-grade risk controls while unlocking new revenue streams for both traders and liquidity providers. It's interesting. The question comes to mind is there going to be KYC? I imagine there have to be if they're using the stocks. Lending and borrowing, liquidity protocols. The liquidity protocol says smart contracts designed to enable seamless transfer. That's your pools. Problem there. Lending involves depositing tokens into a liquidity pool where they become part of the protocol's available reserves. These reserves are then used by borrowers, and lenders earn interest that accrues automatically over time. The interest rate lenders receive depends on the utilization of the pool and pool parameters such as the reserve factor. Lenders can usually withdraw their deposits at any time, provided there's enough unborrowed liquidity in the pool. All right, it's a little vague, but we might learn more after. Borrowing allows users to take tokens from the liquidity pool by locking up other assets as collateral. The amount that can be borrowed is determined by the parameters such as loan to value and liquidation thresholds, ensuring positions remain over collateralized. Borrowers pay interest on the borrowed amount, which adjusts dynamically based on pool utilization. If the value of their collateral falls too low, the position may be liquidated to protect the protocol. This system lets borrowers access liquidity while still holding their original assets. All right, important terms in lending and borrowing. Utilization shows how much the pool's supplied liquidity is currently borrowed. A higher utilization rate means more of the pool is being used, which typically leads to higher interest rates for borrowers and higher yields for lenders. Over-collateralized lending. Over-collateralized lending means borrowers must deposit more value as collateral than the amount they borrow. This ensures protocol is protected if the value of the collateral falls, since there is always a buffer to cover the loan. Loan to value and max loan to value. Loan to value, the LTV, measures how much you can borrow compared to the value of your collateral. For example, if the max LTV of an asset is 75%, depositing $100 of that asset lets you borrow up to liquidity coins. I don't know. I'm not convinced on that, but I understand what the process is, and I'm sure this is, you remember, being set up for a lot bigger ecosystem than we currently are. So you have to keep that in mind. There will definitely be growing pains until you get there. All right, liquidation threshold. Liquidation threshold is the point where a position becomes unsafe. If your collateral value drops below this level compared to your borrowed amount, part of your collateral may be sold or liquidated to repay the loan and protect the pool. A reserve factor is a percentage of the borrow interest that goes to the protocol's treasury safety fund instead of to the suppliers. It ensures the protocol has reserves for long-term sustainability, risk coverage, and development. Collateral supply and borrow caps. Caps are limits set on how much of an asset can be used in the protocol. A supply cap limits how much of a token can be deposited. A borrow cap limits how much can be borrowed. And a collateral cap limits how much can be used as collateral. These controls reduce risk from overexposure to a single asset. All right, next is liquidity pools. Let me check if there's any questions before we go on. What do we got going on here? Brian B showed up. Awesomeness Mapes, he says, welcome. Nice. A new member. Look at that. That's beautiful. Look at that. Got a new member signed up. That's just amazing. Look at this here. Nice. Good stuff. Appreciate it. Glad you're finding some value here today. Don't see any questions, but I appreciate the love. It all helps keep this show rolling. All right. Let's get into it. Liquidity pools for lending and borrowing. Liquidity pool, lending, borrowing, a smart contract-based vault that allows users to participate as either suppliers or borrowers. Each pool is governed by predefined parameters. We kind of talked about that, right? I'm not going to go through it all again. Lendore's liquidity pools run on the Coreum blockchain, where protocol decisions decide the reserve parameters. These parameters are designed to balance liquidity demands with effective risk management. Smart contracts enforce and validate these rules, seamlessly executing borrowing, repayment, and liquidation processes without any intermediaries. This design enhances transparency, efficiency, and security across all interactions with the pool. The primary actions that can be taken on a liquidity pool are borrow. Second, need to get a drink. All right, perfect. Borrowing from a liquidity protocol enables users to unlock capital by using their supply tokens as collateral without needing to sell their assets. Depending on your jurisdiction, there might be some tax advantages to that. However, if the value of the collateral falls below the required threshold, the positions may be liquidated. Interest rates are dynamic, determined by protocol mechanics and governance decisions, and adjust over time based on demand. Rates occur according to the utilization rate, the proportion of the supply liquidity currently borrowed. As utilization increases, so do interest rates, ensuring a balance between borrowers and suppliers. Each reserve is configured with specific parameters that incentivize both sides of the market. To avoid liquidations, borrowers must actively manage their collateralization ratio by maintaining a sufficient buffer, often referred to as a health factor. Borrowers can ensure their positions remain over-collateralized even as market conditions shift or interest accrues. I used to have this on crypto.com years ago, but it disappeared. I assume due to regulatory issues. So I'm interested to see if we get to that within this white paper. Repay. Repaying borrowed tokens is essential for maintaining healthy borrow positions. Borrowers repaid using the same tokens they initially borrowed. Repayment improves the collateralization ratio, reducing liquidation risk by strengthening the position's collateral buffer. This not only safeguards assets from being liquidated, but also enables borrowers to safely withdraw a portion of their collateral. So, something that I'm thinking of here, again, I haven't fleshed this out. I'm not really experienced with lending and borrowing platforms, but the idea that just comes to my head reading this is, if you put up like 1,000 Coreum and you get 7,500 Coreum, you can go stake that Coreum and earn 40% APY, take those rewards to effectively maintain the loan and hopefully eventually pay it off before it ever got liquidated. I'll have to run some numbers on that, see if that's possible. Coreum has pretty high APY, so if there's a token you could do that with, Coreum might be one of them. Supplying tokens enables users to earn interest on their digital assets while also using those tokens as collateral. Once supplied assets are deposited into a liquidity pool, a system of smart contracts that facilitates over-collateralized borrowing. Supplied tokens automatically accrue interest in the prevailing supply rate, with balances updating dynamically as the interest compounds. Interest rates for suppliers are determined primarily by the borrower utilization rate, the proportion of supplied assets currently borrowed, and are further shaped by governance parameters set through the community decisions. These parameters include collateralization thresholds, interest rate models, and reserve configurations, all of which are informed by on-chain data such as token balances, oracle prices, and utilization ratios. As liquidity flows in and out of the pool through deposits, withdrawals, borrowing, repayments, interest rates adjust in real time to reflect current market conditions. Interesting. I didn't notice anywhere governance is part of the token's utility. So yeah, where was that? I was surprised to see. Yeah, here we go. And further by governance parameters set through community decisions. So yeah, I'll see. Maybe I missed that or we haven't got to yet. As liquidity flows in and out of the pool through deposits, withdrawals, borrowing, and repayments, interest rates adjust in real time to reflect the current market conditions. Withdrawal. Lendore allows suppliers to withdraw their deposited tokens along with accrued interest, provided there's sufficient unborrowed liquidity available in the reserve. That's the second time I've seen that. That to me is like vague, but I guess it's a formula. The maximum withdrawal amount depends on both the pool's available liquidity and the user's ability to maintain a safe collateralization ratio if they have an active borrow position. When withdrawing with an open borrow position, it is critical to preserve a healthy collateralization ratio. Withdrawing collateral reduces the health factor, which may increase liquidation risk. To remain safe, the account must stay above the defined liquidation thresholds after the withdrawal. As such, withdrawals require careful consideration of the user's overall borrow positions to avoid triggering liquidation events. All right, interest rate model. Interest rates are at the core. I should check the comments here. Sorry, I don't see the comments at the same time. Just how my screen's set up. No, we're still good. All right. Interest rates are at the core of Lendore's design, impacting both lenders and borrowers. When you supply tokens, you start earning interest. When you borrow tokens, you pay interest. These interest rates are not fixed. They change automatically depending on how much of the pool is being used. When there's plenty of liquidity available, borrowing is cheaper and suppliers earn a lower rate. When most of the liquidity is borrowed, borrowing becomes more expensive while suppliers earn higher returns. This dynamic system makes sure the pool always has enough liquidity for users to borrow and withdraw. It creates a balance. Suppliers are rewarded for making their assets available, and borrowers can still access funds when they need them. Interest rates are updated dynamically based on current pool usage, so they also always represent current pool conditions. All right, here we go. Fees and incentives. In a lending protocol, each participant engages with the system through a defined set of fees and incentives designed to balance liquidity, risk, and sustainability. Suppliers deposit assets to earn a supply APY derived from borrower interest, adjusted for utilization and the protocol's reserve factor. Borrowers access liquidity by paying a variable borrow APY that fluctuates according to pool utilization, ensuring capital efficiency without exhausting reserves. Kind of the same thing we're talking about. Liquidators maintain solvency by repaying under collateralized debt by earning a liquidation bonus, creating a market-driven safeguard against bad debt. At the protocol level, revenue streams such as reserve factor cuts, liquidation fees, and swap fees provide funding for treasury growth, insurance backstops, and governance-driven value capture. Together, these mechanisms align incentives across all actors while reinforcing the system's resilience to volatility and market stress. Here again, I'm not too sure if that's going to be like token stake. They did reference staking, so if that's how they're going to run the governance, not too sure. For each individual actor on Lendore, the fees and incentives are the following. Suppliers, it's just basically short form of what we just read through. The protocol, I guess. Liquidators earn liquidation bonuses. Protocol, a percentage of the cut of the interest borrowers pay. Liquidation fees, share of seized collateral during liquidations, and swap fees are earned on all the swaps. All right, how Lendore handles liquidations and bad debt. Liquidations and bad debt handling are the core safeguards of a lending protocol, ensuring solvency and protecting depositors. When a borrower's collateral falls below the required threshold, the protocol allows liquidations to be triggered, allowing third parties to repay part of the debt in exchange for collateral at a discount. This mechanism incentivizes quick action, helps maintain healthy collateralization across the ecosystem. In rare cases, where liquidations cannot fully cover the debt, such as during extreme market crashes or Oracle failures, the protocol's bad debt handling mechanisms come into play, using predefined backstops like reserve funds, insurance modules, or other recapitalization methods to absorb losses and protect suppliers. Maintaining a healthy lending ecosystem depends on protocol's ability to respond quickly and transparently when a borrower's collateral falls below the required safety threshold. In these moments, the position becomes liquidable, and the protocol must act to protect lenders from losses. Lendore achieves this through an open, decentralized liquidation model that ensures speed, fairness, and trustlessness. In this model, any actor, whether an individual user, an arbitrage bot, or a sophisticated external participant, can trigger a liquidation the moment a position becomes unsafe. This permissionless design removes any reliance on centralized entities or privileged liquidators. Instead, it leverages market-driven incentives to ensure that a liquidation system remains stable, even during periods of extreme volatility. Liquidators competing for a liquidation bonus, small discount on the collateral they absorb, create a natural race to act first, guaranteeing that risky positions are cleared as quickly as possible. All actions are executed by smart contracts, making the entire process transparent, impartial, and censorship resistant. In any lending protocol, bad debt can occur when a borrower's collateral falls below their outstanding loan and the system is unable to liquidate in time. This can happen during periods of extreme volatility, sudden market crashes, or oracle latency, events that, while rare, must be accounted for in a well-designed financial system. To ensure long-term stability and protect lenders, Lendore introduces a reserve fund, a dedicated pool that acts as a backstop against bad debt. The reserve fund will be partially funded from the proceeds of the ICO, establishing an initial safety net from the very beginning. This ensures that, even in the early stages of the protocol, lenders are protected from isolated liquidation failures or unexpected price dislocations. In addition, a portion of all fees generated by the protocol, including interest payments and liquidation fees, will continuously flow into the reserve fund. Over time, this mechanism ensures that the fund grows alongside protocol activity, creating an ever-expanding buffer that reinforces trust and resilience. In the event of extreme market conditions or systemic risk, the reserve fund can be used to cover shortfalls, protecting lenders to the greatest extent possible that the protocol maintains its solvency and reputation. All right, oracles. Okay, wait a second. I got a question here. John Doe. So in case I missed it, is Lendore a validator or have a validator, or they delegate any core they will have lent to them, or will it be sitting? Sorry, a lot of info. I can answer that. Bids, the company behind Lendore here, does have a validator on the Coreum ecosystem. And as I said at the start of the show there, they have already received 600 and some thousand Coreum, can't remember the exact number, over 650,000 Coreum roughly. And that, I'm not too sure what they have. Last I heard, they plan on staking most of that. This raise, they have it set aside for certain things. Will it be staked? I can't speak to that. I have to ask. I think they're doing a space with the Zen Lounge crew there on Monday also. So be an opportunity to ask questions. Maybe they'll pop by the Superledger podcast tomorrow, being that the raise starts on Monday, and make themselves available for questions. More than welcome to if they do choose to. Hopefully that answered your question. Oh, I see I got my little, let me fix that. There we go. Get my face out of the corner of the screen there. Forgot about that. All right, oracles. In a decentralized lending pool, oracles act as the bridge between on-chain smart contracts and off-chain market data. Their main function is to deliver accurate and timely price feeds for all assets supported by the protocol. These price feeds determine the collateral value of a user's deposits, the borrow limits that can be safely issued, the liquidation thresholds when markets move against a borrower. Without oracles, a protocol would have no reliable way to assess real-world value of collateral or debt, making lending decisions arbitrary or unsafe. Why oracles are critical. Lending protocols depend on precise and up-to-date asset prices to maintain solvency and protect users. A small price inaccuracy or delay can lead to under-collateralization, where borrowers owe more than their collateral value, unfair liquidations triggered by manipulated or lagging prices, systemic risk, where the entire protocol becomes insolvent due to cascading liquidations. Oracles thus ensure financial stability and trustlessness, forming an invisible backbone of every lending market on chain. So yeah, and it's interesting, last time Elwin was on the show, he did actually mention that he was working on a Oracle specific for Coreum. So I haven't heard much more from him on that department. Not sure if this is the Oracle that Lendore is using. I know Band Protocol was an early Oracle provider. I'm not sure if they were providing Oracle data, but it was a partnership anyways in the Coreum ecosystem. I know L1, when he was on the show, referenced Chainlink requiring a significant amount of funds to connect with them. And that was what motivated him to work on building one for the cruise control platform, which is also going to have lending and borrowing platform there also. So very important piece of the pie, and eager to get an update on how that build's going. If a single entity controlled price data, it could manipulate markets, front-run liquidations, or freeze lending operations. To prevent this, modern DeFi protocols rely on decentralized Oracle network systems to aggregate data from multiple independent sources and push it on-chain through consensus. Decentralization ensures tamper resistance. No single party can alter or delay prices. Transparency. All price updates are publicly verifiable on chain, and resilience. Even if one data source fails or is attacked, others continue providing accurate data. Some protocols use TWAP, time-weighted average price, or VWAP, volume-weighted average price, mechanisms from decentralized exchanges, while others integrate dedicated Oracle networks. And I heard L1 actually make mention of this when I think in the Coreum Labs Telegram, that they're kind of still waiting to see, for what he's building is still kind of waiting to see which one of those was most practical. All right, what do we got here? Risk methodology, asset listing, protocol risk framework, and deposit cap. All right, asset listing. The asset listing process defines how new tokens become eligible on Lendcore. Actually, I should just check back on questions here. Looks good. Looks good. Sounds like I answered the last one good. So far, so good. Appreciate that. Awesome. Let's go on. Feel free to ask any questions, leave any comments. Anything goes. Where are we at? 47 minutes. I was trying to get this all done in an hour. See if we can make it happen. All right, the asset listing process defines how new tokens become eligible on Lendore, either as collateral, borrowable assets, or deposit-only assets. Its purpose is to protect the protocol from unnecessary risk while enabling capital efficiency. Beyond simply approving tokens, the listing process ensures that every asset introduced to Lendore fits within the protocol's broader risk management philosophy. Each addition must be evaluated not only on its standalone merits, but also how it interacts with the existing collateral set, liquidity pools, Oracle infrastructure, and user behavior patterns. This prevents systematic vulnerabilities, maintains solvency during market shocks, and allows the protocol to scale safely as new assets and market trends emerge. All right, so here we got an evaluation framework. Each asset is assessed across 4 main categories: technical and smart contract risk, market liquidity and profile, collateral-specific considerations, governance and ongoing monitoring. Approval through risk committee or governance. See, yeah, it keeps talking about governance, but I did not see governance as part of the utility. Periodic reevaluation based on market conditions or new risks. So, protocol risk. Defines the principles, models, safeguards Lendore uses to evaluate assets, parameters, and maintain the protocol solvency under all market conditions. It ensures that lending and borrowing activity remains safe, predictable, and economically sustainable, even during periods of volatility or liquidity stress. This framework sits at the core of Lendore's design. Every asset listing, parameter, adjustment, liquidation event, and governance decision refers back to it. Without a structured risk framework, the protocol would rely on ad hoc assumptions, making it vulnerable to unexpected market behavior, cascading liquidations, Oracle failures, and systemic shocks. The deposit cap risk framework defines how Lendore limits the total amount of specific asset that can be deposited into the protocol. Deposit caps act as a safeguard against concentration risk. The scenario where the protocol becomes overly exposed to a single asset whose liquidity, pricing, or technical properties may not support large-scale liquidations during stress events. Even if an asset is safe enough to list, allowing unlimited deposit can create systematic vulnerabilities. Sudden market drops, oracle issues, or liquidity shortages could force liquidations that the market cannot absorb. Deposit caps prevent this by ensuring the protocol's exposure remains within controlled, predictable range. All right, smart contracts to be announced. All right, the token. The LNDR token is the economic backbone of the Lendore protocol, decentralized lending platform built on Coreum. LNDR aligns the interests of lenders, borrowers, validators, and long-term supporters by enabling governance. Oh, there it goes. There you go. Right there. Rewarding participation, capturing protocol value. That was just important for me just to figure out. Sorry, it might not be important to everybody, but governance adds a pretty significant use case to a token, so it's important to know that. All right. As Lendore pioneers lending and collateralization of tokenized stocks through its integration with Solotex, LNDR will become the key mechanism through which users participate in, govern, and benefit from the protocol's growth. It's going to be 10 million tokens. We went through the breakdown earlier, so we won't do that again. We kind of went through this really well, too, the ICO community raise. Just go at it real quick here. Through the Lendore ICO, we're putting up 2 million tokens for sale at a variable pricing model. The total amount raised sets a token price at close. For example, 300K cap. Price is Lendore at 15 cents. Well, if it raised 100K in that 2 weeks, it would set it at 5 cents. So 2 million tokens are going out no matter what. Depends on how much is raised. The raise is capped at 300,000. This is the max amount that can be raised. Raise will start on January 12th, open for 2 weeks. If demand hits 300K cap, the raise will close early. Anything sent after that moment, Coreum, XRP, USD are accepted, will be returned automatically. All right, so we went through that. We went through the tokenomics. Utility. That might speak to, well, that's where I was referencing to. I didn't see it on here. Yeah, see? On this one, I don't see mention of governance, but they did address it, so that's good. And we went through this slide on previous, so we won't do it again. And we went through this breakdown. We won't do it again. FAQ. Or, well, we just went through the whole white paper. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. We can hit the FAQ, see if they're there. But risk. No protocol is going to be considered or entirely risk-free, but extensive steps have been taken to minimize these risks as much as possible, and security is at the core of Lendore's design. As the platform progresses over the next few months and moves toward a public release, a more detailed answer to this question will be provided. All right, well, these are just all answered in what we just read through, so I'm not going to go that. We got a legal section. Terms of service. All right, here we go. Last updated September 1st. Or no, I guess, sorry about that. This is read it different. At January 9th, 2026. The terms of service constitute legally binding agreement between you. Won't read this verbatim to see if there's anything that sticks out here. This site provides a non-custodial user interface that aggregates publicly available blockchain data and enables users to generate transaction messages related to decentralized smart contract systems, included but not limited to decentralized exchange trading, perpetual DEX trading, lending and borrowing markets, liquidity pools, interest rate models, liquidations and bad debt handling, oracles and protocol risk frameworks, and the LNDR token. This site does not custody funds. There you go. So that's important. Execute transactions or control digital assets on behalf of users. Smart contracts and blockchain systems. Lendore operates through open source smart contracts deployed and on supported blockchain networks. Transactions are executed directly on chain when users independently sign and broadcast transactions using third-party wallet software. Lendore does not operate, control, or guarantee the performance of any blockchain network, validator, oracle, or third-party infrastructure. All right, no agency or intermediation. Lendore is not an agent, broker, intermediary, fiduciary, or advisor. You act solely on your own behalf at your own risk. Eligibility and user representation. By accessing using the site, you represent that you're at least 18 years old. Got that covered. You're sufficiently technically and financially sophisticated to understand blockchain-based systems and risk. That's a tough one. Like, there's a lot of people who have been in this space for years that I would say probably aren't sophisticated to understand blockchain-based systems and risk when it comes to lending and borrowing. But and I'm speaking for myself, even with that. It's when you start talking perpetuals, especially with leverage, that's going to be a challenging one to satisfy, I guess, using that. So just be safe out there. Make sure you do follow this one. This is important. You're sufficiently technically and financially sophisticated to understand blockchain-based systems and risks. So I'm trying to point out the whole system here so you understand those risks and can go determine the help of a financial advisor if you're sophisticated enough to play with these tools. You comply with all applicable laws, rules. Yeah, you're not sanctioned. Or not acting on behalf of one. It's important. If any representation becomes untrue, you must immediately cease use of the site. Number 3, United States and sanctions exclusion. Use of site protocol or any lending, borrowing, DEX, or perpetual DEX functionality by persons who are currently or ordinarily located or resident. Oh, interesting. In the United States is strictly prohibited, regardless of IP address. Oh, well, that's a biggie. As a Canadian, I assume if you can't do it there, I'm probably not far behind, but it only points out the U.S. on here at this point. The restriction applies to U.S. citizens, residents, or permanent residents, persons physically located in the United States, entities organized or incorporated under U.S. law. Persons acting on behalf of or the benefit of any U.S. person. The use of VPNs, proxies, or other methods to conceal or misrepresent location of resident is strictly prohibited and may result in immediate and permanent restriction of access, including blocking of associated addresses. Users must not be subject to economic trade sanctions. That's fair enough. By using the site, each user expressly represents the warrants they're not a U.S. person or located in the U.S. Okay, they reiterated that. Lendore reserves the right in its sole discretion to restrict, suspend, terminate access based on geographic location, residency, blockchain address activity, metadata, or suspected violations of this section. Non-reliance and no advice. All information provided through the site is for informational purposes only. Nothing on the site constitutes financial, investment, legal, accounting, or tax advice. You may use the site solely for lawful purposes, including viewing protocol data, conducting independent research, and interacting directly with smart contracts using your wallet. You may not engage in fraud, manipulation, wash trading, front running, or market abuse, attempt to hack, exploit, or interfere with the site or smart contracts. It all makes sense there. Tokens and transactions are irreversible in blockchain. Yeah. Tokens, names, symbols, logos may be inaccurate. Users must verify contract address. Okay, Lendore makes no guarantees regarding token value, liquidity, or market performance. You acknowledge and accept all risks associated with smart contract vulnerabilities or failures, oracle inaccuracies or outages, liquidations or loss of collateral, extreme price volatility, blockchain congestion, downtime, forks or consensus failures, regulatory or legal uncertainty. Digital assets are highly speculative and may lose all value. Not a broker, dealer, advisor, intermediary. This site provides on an as-is and as-available basis without warranties of any kind. Okay. Yeah, it's just all common legalese. Amendments. These terms shall be governed and construed in accordance with the substantive laws of Switzerland without regard to conflict of laws principles. All right, there we go. Privacy policy. Just updated to, well, that was yesterday. There you go. Lenders committed to protecting and respecting privacy, terms, use of personal data when you access. By accessing using the site, you acknowledge that you have read and understood the privacy definitions. All right, there you go. Admin on xrp.com. If you have any questions on that, why we process personal data. We process personal data in order to operate and maintain the site, provide and improve our products, monitor performance, detect bugs. So it doesn't sound like there's any KYC on here. I assume that would just be mandatory, especially if you're dealing with securities. Once that's enabled with Solotex. There you go. We may share personal data with trusted service providers, affiliates, or contractors solely for the purposes consistent with this privacy policy. There you go. Cookie policy. Well, we're not going to go through that. We also know how to deal with cookies by now. There we go. That's the end. We made it to the end. Oh, I made it. I was hoping to do it within an hour at 1:02. Didn't quite get there. Don't see any new questions. Oh, no, I do have a question. John Doe again here. So Lendore will allow meme tokens to be lent, right? Which meme tokens will be onboarded first if this is the case? And do they have parameters for certain meme tokens to be accepted? Well, we went through the parameters of that. They didn't mention cozy token so far. I don't know that any token right now is liquid enough to support lending and borrowing, but where was that? All right, so each asset is assessed across 4 main categories: technical and smart contract risk, audit history and code quality, upgradability, admin permissions, Oracle availability and reliability. Market and liquidity profile, trading volume and depth. Yeah, see, this is where, man, you start talking meme tokens, especially Coreum meme tokens. They're so illiquid. Coreum's fairly illiquid. That being said, so volatility and historical price behavior, maturity of the token, age, adoption, track record. See, like, yeah, that's, I don't know. Does meme tokens satisfy any of those meme tokens on Coreum? Satisfy those for you? They're, I don't know. I would be leery on meme tokens. Collateral specific considerations, liquidation feasibility. Can collateral be sold without heavy slippage? Well, there you go. You show me a meme token on Coreum right now that do not get some slippage if you try and sell it. And so what's heavy? One person heavy slippage might be 5%. The next person it might be 20%. So depends what that heavy slippage setting is, I guess. Appropriate LTV, liquidation throw, and borrow cap, whether an asset should be deposit only, collateral, or borrowable. Yeah, there you go. We shall see. Again, I would tread lightly on that. I guess from that, for me, I mean, I haven't really formed an opinion on it through that. I've just kind of been busy reading through, but I'm not too interested in using perp for sure, especially with like low liquidity tokens. Um, there might be some lending borrowing value there, I guess. It'd be interesting to see how many tokens, to me, like USDC, for example, XRP, a little bit more liquid of a token. Those ones come to my mind. But even Coreum, like I said, there might be a case there where you borrow against your Coreum and stake it, and kind of use your staking rewards from that to manage your loan, or potentially even pay off the loan with staking rewards over time. That's interesting. But so hopefully that was helpful. I don't want to run this too long. I have a lot of things to talk about. I just got set up at the home base here after being gone for 6 months, so it was kind of like a test run too. Let me know if everything sounded okay. I got my Jenny just humming in the background there. I'm eager to listen to the replay and see what that sounds like. I did a couple tests. It seemed okay, but let me know if it's bothersome there. I left some background music playing there to hopefully drown out said generator, but it's essential to the operation. I could probably make it on my battery backup here at my desk. Probably good for about an hour and a half, or just over an hour, but nonetheless, better safe than sorry. Well, with that, we'll work towards winding it down. I don't see any more questions there. Oh, I do have another one. Just 1 second here. How's that going to work when they have a partnership with Soltex, which is targeted to U.S. investors? Well, I mean, I don't know that Soltex is necessarily targeted to U.S. investors. It's going to be the first tokenized securities available to U.S. investors, and I assume from people abroad. So great question. I mean, even the Coreum ecosystem, like a portion of them being from the U.S. I don't know. It's definitely a complication. And then, like I said, me being in Canada, and there's no go in the U.S. I'd be surprised if Canadian government's gonna like it either. Yeah, I like I said, I had curiosities on that. I used to be able to borrow on crypto.com. Actually, that was how I DCA'd out of XRP in the would have been the 2021 area there when it ran up. I had a lot of XRP. I bought low and took out a loan against it, bought a bunch of other assets that did okay, and but they ended that program, unfortunately. I'm fully KYC'd on crypto.com. That still no go. I don't know if that's right across the board or just me in Canada here, but nonetheless, decentralized lending and borrowing coming to the Coreum ecosystem via Lendore. And I'm eager to see how it goes. They got a raise, as I said, coming up Monday, the 12th, here just in a couple of days. It's open for 2 weeks, hoping to raise up to $300,000 with 2 million tokens. So I don't know, let me know in the comments if you're interested, or if you had any questions, concerns. Are you going to be a lender, a borrower? Eager for the perps? Let me know your thoughts. Anyways, we'll wrap things up here. Just a reminder, every Sunday, 12 p.m. Pacific, I'm hosting the Superledger podcast with my trusted co-host, Articulate. And then every Wednesday, 6 a.m. Pacific time, I'm also hosting Flix Talk. We just had the 200th episode of Flix Talk here this past Wednesday, in fact. So, it's a lot going on here these days. But like I said, just back at the home ranch, just got everything set up. Testing pretty good here by the looks of it. Got a lot of content coming up, a lot going on. Been pretty quiet for a long time, too. So, mix of both. Expect a few long live streams. But I'm going to start going back to some pre-recorded content. It might just work a little bit better with my power situation. I'm still kind of waiting to tie in a couple things to my site here for more stability as far as power goes, but we're getting there. Got the the big generator tank or propane tank hooked up here, and that was a biggie. So not hauling propane tanks around. That's huge. So, but yeah, it's nice to be back here on the Sunshine Coast. Escaped the exceptionally cold winter of Haida Gwaii, and got here to where back in the nice tropical rainforest, everything's lush and green again. So, Superledger podcast tomorrow, 12 p.m. Pacific, Town Hall edition. Everybody's welcome to stop by, chill, share, shine. This goes out to you guys at the Lendore bids.com crew. If you hear this in time, stop by the show tomorrow. Let us know what's going on. Hopefully I covered it well. Appreciate everybody building and contributing to the Coreum ecosystem, its growth. It takes a whole crew. So, like I said, you can help us in what we're doing here by staking your Coreum to the Coreum Community DAO Validator. As you can see here on the website, we're empowering tomorrow, together today. And I am going to wrap things up with how about, you know what? I didn't have, I usually play this around New Year's, so let me go to it here now. And we'll close it with some articulate here. Let me get rid of this banner here. And let me get this going here. Where are we? This is the one. All right, this is Articulate. He did this song a couple years ago. Did an interview with him about this song. And I remember January 1st, just a few years ago, I was at the top of a very high peak in the Okanagan, British Columbia. And there'd be cliffs, in fact, and played this song and made a little video for him while I was up there. The song played in the background. Great tune. Great guy. Make sure you check out him and I tomorrow on the Superledger podcast. If you stop by, please like, share. The others know all about it. Peace and prosperity to all.
Where there is a will, there must be a way. Me have to win, come what may. Clasp my hands every day, I pray. Now I can lose cause me not confused. Every time positivity me choose. So many open doors, it's hard to ignore. Every year was my year, but this year I'm sure. They on a virtual tour, y'all them a bubble to the floor. Every year was my year, but this year I'm sure. Lyrics are pour from my heart, tunes for you climb up the chart. Destiny create me path, remain humble, don't exalt. Lockdown life rough, we can't do too much. Wait till COVID up, a big dance we a bust. Make sure you prepare yourself, cause when the clock strikes 12, things get dark, dark start back. You are go ball out hell. So many open doors, it's hard to ignore.